How's it going, everyone? Laughing here, and today is a fantastic day. I know tomorrow is the official launch date for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, but there are already people all around the world already playing the game. If I heard correctly, a lot of Xbox users suddenly migrated to New Zealand. I wonder why that is. And there's also a lot more impressions out as well. But we also have some exciting and interesting news today. So three news stories I'm going to kind of cover. Number one, on the Xbox Series X and S, there has been some issues that have actually caused the game to crash. Good news is there's already a fix for it, so that is good. But we'll talk a little bit more about that. There are somehow already reviews for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which is very strange. Since review codes didn't go out till Monday, and really no one had enough time to play through all three games by now, let alone write an actual review. So kind of strange there. I'll kind of talk about that a little bit. And I dare say probably the biggest news is project director Mac Walters floated the idea that if the game is successful enough that we might actually get a multiplayer remaster, which is very exciting for those who played the multiplayer in Mass Effect 3. I had a fantastic time. I know it's pretty bog standard kind of horde mode at the time, but it's Mass Effect, and not even that it's Mass Effect, it's more Mass Effect. So I'm really hoping that ends up kind of happening, and we'll kind of go a little bit more into that as well. But before I get into the news stories, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It super helps the channel grow and it'd be much appreciated. You guys have been doing a fantastic job this week doing that, so please keep it up. All right, so the first news story that I'm going to hop into here is the crashing of the Legendary Edition on the Xbox Series X and S. So from what I've gathered so far, it is primarily due to like wireless accessories that are attached to the controller somehow. And we actually already have an official response from BioWare with it, and we also know that they're already on the case trying to work with Microsoft and get it fixed as soon as possible. But this is their official response. We have identified an issue for Mass Effect Legendary Edition on Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S, where the game will exit to the dashboard if booted while different accessories like wireless headsets are connected. We are currently working with Microsoft to fix this ASAP in a post-launch update. In the meantime, to start playing the game, we recommend you do not use any extra peripherals until this is resolved. Wired headphones are still okay to use. In terms of game bugs at launch, this isn't too bad, so there's already workaround with it, and ultimately, if it comes down to it, you can't use your wireless headset, which sucks, but they're already on the case, and there actually is a workaround already out there. So this is actually from purexbox.com. They say, number one, ensure your wireless headset is turned off. 2, launch the Mass Effect Legendary Edition from the dashboard. 3, once you are at the launcher screen with the game, choose which Mass Effect you're going to play. Number 4, once you're actually in the title screen for that Mass Effect, you can actually turn on your headset and you'll be able to play with the audio working as normal. So once again, not a super big bug or anything like that, which is good to hear. There's a workaround, they're already working on it, but I do want to let you guys know about it. I did see in the comments there were a few people that were planning on playing on Xbox Series X or S, and apparently this also affects baseline Xbox Ones as well. So did want to make sure you guys are aware of it. So if that does happen to you guys, you have your workaround, you know how to deal with it, and it's not the end of the world at the end of the day. And when it comes to kind of bugs in general with the game, I have seen kind of a few things here or there, like on the subreddit and even some impressions kind of talking about it. From what I can tell, everything's pretty minor. Some of them are still kind of legacy bugs, which I'm not super happy to kind of hear about. I was really hoping that they'd get rid of most of those kind of legacy bugs, but it sounds like in general, everything is very stable on most platforms that people are playing on. I listened to an impression today that was on actually the Xbox and PC, and I have actually seen my fair share of gameplay on the PS4 and the PS5. So in general, it does seem like all platforms are fairly stable, which is really good to hear for those day one purchasers, which is awesome. But do know there might be a few minor bugs kind of mingled in there, which isn't too big of a surprise. And hopefully those will get squashed in the next week or so. That's what I'm personally really hoping for, especially those legacy bugs that have been around for a while. Hopefully they can kind of sort those out, and those can be something left in the past where they belong. All right, so a general kind of PSA, because I am kind of a typical gamer more times than not, I dare say. And whenever there's a game that I'm really excited for and I'm waiting for reviews, I'm gonna go out, look for the reviews, go on OpenCritic, go on Metacritic, what have you. But this is one of those times where I'm actually gonna tell you, if you see a review already for the game, beware. So what we found out kind of earlier in the week is that review codes didn't actually go out till Monday night for all reviewers. So no reviewers got it before then. That is the soonest they could have gotten it. And if you kind of line up kind of the time period with that, there's no way for any reviewer to actually have played all three games all the way through, and actually write a cohesive and comprehensive review in that time. It's just not possible. I would say if you are seeing any reviews before Monday, in a general sense, beware. Just people have not had enough time with the game to actually play through all the content. Sure, they could have played like 15 hours of Mass Effect 1, 15 hours of Mass Effect 2 and 3, and kind of gotten a general kind of impression of how it is. But until they actually go through the entire game, I don't feel like it's responsible journalism if you're just reviewing off of that and you haven't actually beaten any of the games. For all we know, there could be massive bugs like of you trying to move your Mass Effect 1 save to Mass Effect 2. I don't think that'll be the case, but we don't know, and reviewers are unable to know that until they actually play through the games. So there is, for instance, like one review already on Metacritic, and they've already given the game a 100% score, which in a general sense, and as a Mass Effect fan, hey, I am happy to see positive reviews. I actually really want the Mass Effect Legendary Edition to not only sell well, but also score well at the same time, because it is a franchise I really hold near and dear to my heart. But at the same time, I do feel like it's kind of disingenuous to throw out a 100% review when you actually haven't gone through and reviewed everything. So in a general sense, as a PSA, kind of beware of any reviews that you see out there before Monday. More than likely, these are people, or reviewers rather, that have actually not gone through the game. They've kind of gotten a general impression of everything potentially, and they're just throwing a review score on that, which I personally am not a fan of. I know in the gaming community, a lot of times IGN is kind of like a meme review site to an extent, too much water, all that fun stuff. But once in a while, I do feel like they do get it right. And I feel like this is one of the times where I'm going to give them a pat on the back at the very least. So this actually comes from one of their IGN kind of executive editors over there, Dan Stapleton. And actually on Monday afternoon, he actually tweeted, FYI, do not expect full reviews of the Mass Effect Legendary Edition this week. EA is waiting on a big patch to send it out, so nobody's gotten copies yet. Considering there's a lot of game, it might take a while. And then actually he didn't get a review code till later that night. So kind of once again, kind of backing up the fact that, hey, they didn't get review codes till Monday night. And not even just Dan Stapleton at IGN. We also have Game Informer and Ars Technica as well. They report the same thing, as well as Mr. Matty Plays on YouTube. So it's not just kind of big gaming websites. It's also, YouTubers as well that are in that space. So do keep that in mind. Everyone's kind of all on the same playing ground when it comes to this. So kind of FYI there. But yeah, Dan Stapleton on IGN, he actually put up a review that said, hey, where is IGN's Mass Effect Legendary Edition review? So Dan Stapleton wrote, late on Monday afternoon, a Mass Effect Legendary code arrived in my email inbox. As of this writing, that's been about 65 hours ago. And as of me recording, it's been around 67, 68 hours, which would be roughly enough time to have hurriedly played through 2 of its 3 large-scale RPGs if you literally did nothing else. He goes on, put another way, I haven't had enough time with them yet to write anything close to review. My early impressions based on the first 10 or so hours haven't revealed much about the updated original Mass Effect that you haven't already seen or heard previously. So once again, if you see reviews before Monday, just kind of beware. They're more than likely are not going to be full comprehensive reviews. It's most likely going to be impressions with the review kind of sticker on there just to get as many clicks as possible, because it's just kind of how it goes with review scores a lot of times. If you're the one of the first ones to get a review out there, you're going to get a lot of traffic to your website and make money. That's how the industry goes. But for me, people who are watching my content and my videos, I just want to make sure that you guys know to beware of any sort of reviews for a little bit at least, like I said before, earliest Monday. And the final news story today, and a good chance this is why you clicked on the video: potential multiplayer remaster coming to the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. So yesterday on CNET, they were actually able to interview Mac Walters, project director of the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. They're able to ask, is there a possibility of multiplayer coming back? And he said, potentially. So it's opened the door to it maybe happening, but let's actually get into what he said. So once again, this is on cnet.com, and the interviewer asked, is there any possibility of the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer mode, which isn't in the Legendary Edition, coming back in some form? I got super into it back then because you could try all of the different abilities and just zip around as an Asari or one of the other races. Walters, I would never say no to that. We want to see what kind of reception the Legendary Edition gets and what the demand for multiplayer is. And then we'll ask ourselves if we have the resources and time to bring it up to the quality level we and the fans want. So once again, kind of propping that door open for a potential Mass Effect multiplayer. And of course, in no times at all, I'm sure none of one will be able to guess this. Yeah, that's right. There's already a petition online for the Mass Effect multiplayer to become a thing. I actually found this on the Mass Effect subreddit, and someone already did a change.org petition to try to redevelop or redesign the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer for a Legendary Edition. So I already signed it, of course, because I do want to see it back. At the time of recording, they're at 1,100 signatures with a goal of 1,500. I feel like, once some more media attention gets on this, some more signatures will be had. Yeah, I'm just gonna throw a link down in the description if you want to sign it to make it really easy to find. So it is out there if you do want to sign it. I'm kind of lukewarm on change.org petitions. I don't feel like they really usually get a whole lot done, but sometimes it can be a good way to kind of show developers or platforms or what have you that, hey, there is actually a general fan demand for this. So maybe you'll do a good job doing that. Hopefully we'll kind of see. I personally think that the biggest factor is going to come down to overall sales for the game, which I have a feeling that sales for Mass Effect Legendary Edition are actually going to be pretty good. I believe as of like this morning, Mass Effect Legendary Edition was like #1 on Steam's charts. So hey, that's usually a good sign, but we'll kind of see. And when it comes to the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, I'm definitely a big fan of it coming back. I had a lot of fun. It was kind of a cool way to play someone else besides Shepard. You could play different aliens. You could be like an Asari, Turian, Solarian, Krogan. I think to me, maybe even like grab like Volus at one point, which is kind of cool. And yeah, they had kind of different class setups and different weapons unlock. And it was very, very horde-based kind of mode, which at the time wasn't super, revolutionary. We'd kind of seen that already in a lot of different games. But that wasn't really the main thing. The main thing is it gave you an opportunity to actually play Mass Effect with your friends. Whereas like usually without multiplayer, the closest you can get is maybe having like 2 TVs set up and like playing next to like your buddy or something, or just kind of just talking about Mass Effect. That's pretty much as close as you could get before the multiplayer. And I think more people really want kind of back to that. I will say that I am somewhat cautious when it comes to the multiplayer for one reason and one reason only, and that is the loot box system. Yeah, when I was in high school, I had like one job, not a whole lot of money, but I put money into the loot box system for the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. Looking back on it, was not the smartest thing. It was definitely kind of a cash grab, which I'm not a fan of. So I really do not want them to have that sort of loot box system in Mass Effect. They took it out of Battlefront 2 because a lot of people were upset. I don't want that in Mass Effect at all. Do not touch your fingers with that, EA, if that's what you're planning on doing. That being said, Mass Effect 3 multiplayer without loot boxes, reimagined, remastered, what have you, I'm a fan of, I'm down with. Cool. Just no loot boxes, please. And with the end of that news story, let me know down in the comments, do you guys want to see a remaster or a reimagining of the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer? Let me know down in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, once again, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more Mass Effect content going forward. I will actually be streaming the game on PS4 Pro on Twitch tonight at about 11 o'clock Central Time. I believe that is, midnight Eastern Time. So do keep that in mind. I actually have a link to my Twitch down below. If you do want to watch and support, that would be much appreciated. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I seriously appreciate it. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Do something good for yourself. And as always, take care.